What is going on, everybody, and welcome back once again. My name is Jordan, also known as J Monster, and I have something so exciting for you guys today. This is one of the most hair-raising, nail-biting, down-to-the-wire multiplayer battles that I have ever been involved in my life. So recently, the beta for a mod called Third Age Reforged, which aims to overhaul the multiplayer for Third Age Total War, has come out. It is now available to the general public. If you guys are fans of Pixelated Apollo and Indie Pride and Surreal Beliefs and all that kind of stuff, I believe all of them also have videos on their channel that uses this mod, but it is now out for all of us to play with it, and it is amazing. It's still got some bugs to work out and some stability issues, but by and large, this is exciting, and I'm so excited. This is going to revitalize the Third Age community for the multiplayer. So today I have a 3 versus 3 battle for you. This is an Elven Civil War scenario. We have 3 armies of the Silvan Elves facing off against 3 armies from the High Elves on this wonderful multiplayer custom-made map. And I'm going to introduce the High Elves rather first. We're going to look at my team's army composition, then we're going to look at the Silvan Elves. So the first army we have here is being commanded by yours truly. I have 2 units of Eldarinwe Archers, 2 units of Lindon Longspears, 1 Catapult, 2 units of Eldar Spears, 3 units of Sindar Blademasters, 4 units of Eldarinwe Archers, 2 units of Imladris Stormguard, 1 unit of Eldar Nobles hiding in the back here, 2 units of the Mithlond Nobles, and 1 unit of the Smiths of Eregion. A very classic kind of fan favorite army with a few of the new additions for the mod. I also have a Catapult. I think I mentioned that though. So moving on down the cliff here, defending this army camp is the army of my ally, rather, Metalized. He has 3 units of Imladris Guards. These are heavy pikemen, very good on the defense. You can see them in their spear wall formation here. He's also got 4 units of Eldarinwe Spearmen, 4 units of Eldar Archers, a Catapult, 1 unit of Eldarinwe Lancers, or yeah, that's what they're called, Lancers, 2 units of Eldar Nobles, and finally 3 units of Eldarinwe Swordsmen. He's actually deployed 2 of his archers up here in anticipation for the Silvan Elves. You can see them just kind of staring each other down from the heights, everyone anticipating what is to come. Finally, back here we have our reserve force being commanded by CMT-19. He has 2 units of Sindar Blademasters, 2 units of Mithlond Nobles, 3 units, I believe, of Imladris Guards, 1 unit of Noretirno Archers, 3 units of Eldarinwe Archers, and I believe 3 units of Eldar Swordsmen, in addition to a Catapult. I don't think he has any cavalry. I think he went with a full infantry force, which is going to be important later. He's also got 2 units of Imladris Stormguard, and I'm pretty sure that's the entirety of their armor. Oh no, he's got a couple units of Mithlond Nobles in here that I missed. So let's go take a look at the army opposite me, being commanded by, what was his name? Heath Horton 2008. There it is. He is commanding the Silvan Elves, and he has, he's got I believe 3 units of Silvan Swordsmen, Silvan Heavy Swords, 3 units of e-Beng, who are another unit of Silvan Heavy Swords, but these ones have armor piercing, and I believe less numbers as well. He's got 2 units of the Eldar Falas Lords sitting in the back here, very powerful. These guys are spearmen. I believe they have armor piercing. They are absolutely some of the best heavy infantry in the game. There's a second unit right there. I believe he's got 2 units of e-Beng, who are heavy spearmen. 2 units of e-Beng. You can see them back here hiding behind these pikes right here. These are his heavy archers. He's also got, I think, 1 unit of Silvan Heavy Spearmen, who are kind of like a lesser version of the e-Beng. And he's got, I think, 2 units of Eldar Royal Guard, a Catapult, and a unit of Woodland Warriors. In addition to that, he's got 2 units of Eldar Pathfinders. These are amazing heavy cavalry. And just look at them. Look at how fantastic these guys look. It gets me excited. I want to play right now just looking at this. And I believe this is his general's bodyguard right here. He's got a unit of Elder King Guard, and these are extremely powerful, but not very numerous heavy cavalry. I believe they have about 3 hit points per model, which is just amazing. That's crazy. And I think that's the entirety of his army. We're going to move down here and take a look at the army of Archangel. He has, I believe, 3 units of Elder Pathfinders, 3 units of Silvan Heavy Archers, 2 units of Eldar Falas Guard, 3 units of e-Beng, 1 unit of the Forest Wardens, 1 unit, I believe, of the Eldar Royal Council, 2 units of Eldar Royal Guard, and he also has a ballista in addition to all of that. So very nice, well-balanced army. covers kind of all of the bases. And the smaller, more elite army we have down here, there are 4 units of Here Elang. This is being commanded by Kid. He's got 4 units of Here Next Spearmen, 4 units of Here E-Beng, 1 unit of Elder King's Guard, and I believe his general is hiding out in there somewhere, a Catapult, and up here on the heights he's got 3 units of the Elder Pathfinders. So that's everything. So without any further ado, we are going to go take a look. We're going to start with my army, and then we're going to move into some of the other parts of the battlefield, because mine is a bit of a stalemate for a while here. Alright, so let's go ahead and get it started. You can see a Catapult Fireball coming in here. I very wisely moved my Catapult up early to try and get some early kills, and unfortunately the accuracy here isn't all the greatest, so we're not going to have a chance to hit this unit right off the bat, unfortunately. But for the most part, it's a bit of a stalemate. We can just kind of stare at each other and occasionally get the odd Catapult shot off. See my Catapult winding up for another go here. Let's move it forward, trying to get them just into a nice position here. He sees that, so he's going to adjust accordingly. Boom! Oops. Another near miss, alas. And he sees what's going on, so he's going to start to fall his troops back. Very wise on the part of my opponent, Heath Horton here. He's going to start moving his Catapult forward to try and put a little bit of pressure onto my positions up here. We're just in the maneuvering stage at this point. We do miss, but we managed to land a beautiful shot here right into the middle of his cavalry. I think we took down probably almost 10 of them, 7 or 8 at least. A brutal shot. But we're going to move down here onto the lower half of the battle, where things are going to be getting real pretty quick here. Kid's army is very much isolated. It's kind of the mirror deployment to mine, where I have deployed closer to 2 different armies. He also is not in the greatest spot here. So you can see up on the heights that Catapult getting some early kills. Only 1 early kill. This very unlucky Elder Pathfinder is the only casualty of that Catapult. But his archers are managing to rain some death down on these troops as they try to get into position, pushing them back from that height and checking their movement. So if you look back up here, slow down just for a second. Archangel is actually attempting a flanking maneuver here. He's brought some of his Elder Pathfinders, all of them in fact, in addition to some heavy infantry and some heavy archers who are bringing up the rear. All I have to throw in his way is this unit of Lindon Longspears here, and some archers, of course, to fire into the flanks, and they are going to get run over. Despite being braced, they are still light infantry, and these Elder Pathfinders are going to do work. So I commit my Sindar Bladesmen to the battle, knowing that they can take these guys on in a straight fight pretty well. Not amazing, but he's also going to come in for a nice flank charge here, run down a lot of those units. But over here you can see another assault. This is Heath Horton's army. He brought in a unit of his Pathfinders. We managed to surround them with our Lindon Longspears backing up our 2 units of Lancers, but they still managed to get into our artillery crew and kill a few of them. So things are looking pretty grim right now. He's managed to silence our artillery for the time being, which gives him a lot more freedom of movement in order to move his troops into good positions on this particular battlefield. So I see these units coming in here, so I'm going to charge my heavy cavalry in there, try and surround these units. Got my 2nd unit of Noldor heavy cav in here, and we're also going to move my my Lindon Longspears into battle against these Silvan Elder Pathfinders. So it's pretty brutal fight going on up here in the heights, but despite our numerical and unit type advantage, we are actually getting pushed back. These Elder Pathfinders are not to be taken lightly. They are extremely powerful, and I believe they all have 2 hit points each. So I'm trying to retreat my Catapult crew here just to get them away from the battle, but unfortunately 2 of them have disobeyed me and they've gone back for this Catapult. So they are not going to do what I tell them to do, and they are actually going to get caught by these Elder Pathfinders. In the meantime, let's go take a look at some of the maneuvering that's going on down here. This is Archangel's army. Looks like we've got a couple units of Eldar Nobles down here on the lowlands, taking some heavy fire from the Silvan Archers entrenched up here in the heights. They're going to do a lot of damage to these cavalry, and looks like he's lost micro on his troops here. He doesn't quite realize what's happening, so they are actually going to take a significant amount of casualties. And at the meantime, he's moving his spear army forward. This is not a very offensive army. It's more for a holding action, but you guys will see that a little bit later. At the same time, he's moving some swordsmen over here to go and harass this Silvan army, who is still entrenched. They have not moved out of their original position yet. But we are going to we're going to pull back just a little bit here because we have these two armies coming into, or these three armies rather, coming into contact here. He's got his Eldar Palace Guard here, all of them in loose formation. A very wise decision on his part, because we are pouring arrow fire into them from the heights here. I've started to maneuver the rest of my Eldarinwe Archers up onto this plateau here so that we can rain death down upon these Silvan dogs. We've managed to slaughter most of his heavy cavalry at this point. I don't think any of them are left. We got our General's Bodyguard over here, and they did play a pretty significant role in getting rid of this cavalry. We've still got some Eldar Spearmen here in reserve, but as I see more of what's happening here, I'm going to start peeling more and more units off of my left flank, which is going to shorten my main battle line. So things are not going terribly well for me. I've lost my Catapult crew. I've lost both of my units of Noldor cavalry here. He's got some Woodland Warriors here in the fight against us. We managed to get a decent downhill charge here, deal a lot of damage to these guys, but unfortunately they are anti-cavalry. And the rest of my Lindon Longspears here going down, surrounded on one side by Eldar Pathfinders who are now heavily reduced here. So we've managed to destroy a significant portion of the Silvan heavy cavalry, which is going to play a very big role later in the battle. In the meantime, yeah, it looks like that's the end of my Noldor cavalry, so my force up here has actually been wiped out. That's about 4 units now that I'm down, and I'm facing 2 different armies, so I'm in a lot of trouble. In the meantime, looks like his Hiri Lang have managed to get into battle here against my troops. I'm trying to sneak my Eldarinwe Nobles down this little cliff right here, but I realize that that's not going to work, so I am going to pull them out and bring them around the long way. In the meantime, he's bringing up his Eldar Palace Guard. These guys are incredible. I'm rushing reinforcements in. I brought in both my units of Spearmen to try and hold the line. I've also got our original unit of Sindar Blademasters who've been pushed back up this hill by the Hiri Lang, but we are giving it to them. Defeat is a distinct possibility, but we are definitely holding our own here against these Hiri Lang. I'm going to peel off a unit of Smiths of Eregion here to try and reinforce my lines, because I am in some serious trouble right now. So, I abandoned my my doomed venture trying to get down that hill, so I'm going to bring my Eldarinwe Noble Cav here around this flank and try and hit these Eldar Palace Guard in the rear here. They're taking on my Silvan Heavy Spearmen, and they are wasting them. These guys are getting destroyed. I've never seen Eldar Heavy Spearmen die that quickly before. So we're going to throw our Smith of Eregion here. These guys are fresh against these winded Eldar Palace Guard, but it's not going to make a lick of difference. These guys are so powerful, they can take on both of these units no problem. So seeing that we're in dire straits right here, I want to try and free up some of my soldiers here so we can try and surround these guys. But first, what I'm going to do while I still have the numbers left to do this, I'm going to try and take down some of these Eldar Royal Guard here. These are highly elite, very skilled archers and infantrymen. They are not to be played with. So we've got a really nice charge going off here. We are going to deal so much damage to these guys. But regardless, victory is still a distinct possibility. It says the balance of forces is evenly matched, but that is going to change real quick here. So we're going to slow it down just a little bit for a second so we can take a look at things that are going on the rest of the battlefield. Still very much a stalemate here, but this area, rest assured, is going to become a killing ground. So we've got some movement here on Kid's left flank. He's trying to get his Eldar Pathfinders down into this area. We've got some very tempting targets for them right here. If these guys can get into these swordsmen, they are going to destroy them. They're going to run right through them, take down the Eldarinwe Archers, and he's going to lose a significant part of his killing power. So we're going to keep an eye on that. We're going to head back up to my plateau to take a look at the development of the battle up here. So my noble cavalry here, they've dealt a lot of damage to these guys, but they are going to start to pull back. Looks like we're going in for another cycle charge here. These guys now winded. Unfortunately, this is a desert map, so everyone gets tired very quickly. A pretty boring charge there. Not really doing a whole lot to these Eldar Royal Guard. It says defeat rather is a distinct possibility, but he's going to move the rest of his Eldar Guard here into the fray, get a nice side charge off on my Eldarinwe Nobles, and things are going to go very poorly for them. Up here, his Palace Guard here, pushing back the Smiths of Eregion. It says defeat is still certain. They're taking on 2 units, and they've barely lost any of their troops. I think they've lost about 9 of them so far. Meanwhile, we are getting pushed back up here. My infantry is starting to get pretty thin on the ground, so I'm starting to bring in some more reinforcements. We've got some Sindar Blademasters. I think we've got 2 units of them in there. Fresh Sindar Blademasters to push back these now tired Silvan Elf troops, get a nice side charge off into this very elite unit here, hopefully do a lot of damage to them. Meanwhile, my Eldarinwe Nobles lost another 6 men out of the unit. They are having troubles. We're going to pull them back and try and deal with this menace here on our right flank. So we're going to launch some hammer and anvil charges, first into the backs of these Hiri Lang right here. Unfortunately, my nobles are now quite tired, so it's not as easy for them to get nice charges off into the sides of these guys. Looks like I've lost my micro on these troops just a little bit, but I think things are going quite poorly for us over here as well. As you can see, Heath Horton has started to move up onto the heights here. He has now occupied this plateau where our artillery battery and our cavalry and spearmen used to be. So I'm adjusting my archers in response to this to try and put a little bit of pressure onto his troops there while they're up there. We can see a nice hammer and anvil charge going off here into the backs of these Elder Palace Guard, and they are going to get flattened. Absolutely devastated. At this point, they've been in the battle for a long time. They're very tired. They don't have a whole lot of melee defense because of that, and they've lost a lot of their hit points. So we took them down from like 27 down to, or 29 or so, down to 9. And at the same time, our Sindar Blademasters is going to be getting a nice flank charge off here, and a nice charge off into this Elven troop blob here to support our Smiths of Eregion. So we pulled our Eldarinwe Nobles back. We're going to start launching some more hammer and anvil charges into the backs of these troops. Still says they're outnumbered and in a bad spot, but the balance of forces is apparently still evenly matched. Victory is certain for this unit of 4 Hiri Lang here, but I feel like that's doubtful. So we're going to actually launch a nice hammer and anvil strike here into the backs of these guys. But as you can see, he now has nothing to fear from my artillery taking down his catapult, so he has begun to move his artillery pieces forward. But we're going to slow that down just a tad and go take a look at the way events are unfolding over here. You can see, looks like the heavy Pathfinder Cav has made their move, and they have charged into this group of Eldar Swordsmen, and they have absolutely flattened them, despite the support that they're getting from the troops up on the hill here, and Metalized Cav, which he has brought in to counter this menace. They have absolutely eradicated 3 units of heavy swordsmen and 1 unit of Eldar Archers. This is a big loss for us. We are going to be on the back foot, essentially, for the rest of this battle. We are heavily outnumbered. We've lost a lot of our heavy infantry at this point. And they have lost a lot of their cavalry, so they've basically traded their cavalry for the destruction of large parts of our heavy infantry and for my artillery piece as well. So you can see that they're starting to make their move up here. He's going to start to move his troops forward really quickly here, and I realized that my Eldar bowmen here are not firing. We're having a bit of an issue with the ranged bug here, because in Medieval 2, if your ranged troops are up on a hill, they will get a tidy little ranged bonus. So these guys are unfortunately not able to shoot them, so we're going to start to move them forward pretty quickly here. But let's speed it up just a little bit. Yeah, you can see me start to bring in my heavy infantry here. I've decided that I don't really want to play this game. I don't want to have these guys fighting down in the center with archers on their flank and a catapult in their rear to deal a lot of damage to them. So I'm going to make my move here, and I'm going to move my troops up onto this plateau, and we're going to take these Silvan troops on in hand-to-hand combat. Down here, it looks like we've dealt with the last of the Silvan forces. They have pretty much all been eradicated. So we're going to start to pull our troops out of this front here. Yeah, you can see it's just a general retreat of our army. And we're going to pull them back up to this plateau here, and that's where we're going to make our final stand. Well, let's take a look here. It looks like, yeah, because we left the job undone here, these Eldar Royal Guard are still going to be available to harass us in the rear. So we're going to be taking a lot of damage from them, until we start moving our troops. So I see what's going on here, and I've started to pull them back out of here. So what maybe would have been a smarter decision would be to move at least 1 unit, this unit of Sindar Blademasters down here, and take out these archers to eliminate that threat on our rear, But I'm pretty desperate for troops at this point. I've wasted a lot of troops just trying to beat his cavalry and his heavy infantry, and this is only a part of his army, and they've done a lot of damage to me so far. I have no cavalry, and I have very little archers left. So we've got a big charge going in up here. They're charging right into my Stormguard, and they are going to cut them to pieces. They've got some armor-piercing units in there, backed up by some heavy swordsmen. So we're going to go for a surround here and try and crush this blob before the rest of his troops can get into the battle. And in the meantime, we're trading fire with his here e-Beng, who are unfortunately not in loose formation. which I think is a big mistake, and you'll see that repeated later in the battle. But we're actually, our accuracy, it's kind of working out for them because our accuracy is not amazing right now. They've still got a unit of Pathfinders in here as well. Just not very many of them. Most of them were destroyed, but I can see them going for a rear charge here on my Mithlond Nobles. So I'm going to try and deny them the charge, throw my heavy infantry into the fray here, and try and cut down what remains of this cavalry. And it is actually going to work out pretty well for us. We managed to deny them that charge. So we're going to start pulling these guys out of their saddle and finishing these Elder Pathfinders off. But in the meantime, he is bringing his Silvan Heavy Spears forward. The rest of his army as well. He's got some archers up here who are lined up to do a lot of damage. And the main bulk of his heavy infantry force, a lot of swords, a lot of spears, and as well as some Elder Palace Guard here, are coming up on this onto this plateau, and we're going to be in a lot of trouble. Realizing that he's also bringing up his catapult, and that the battle for me is essentially lost because I cannot fight all of these troops, I'm going to try and bring my Eldar heavy cavalry here, these Eldarinwe Nobles, around this side and skirt through his lines. Oh, one of them going down to arrow fire, and try and get into the back of his catapult and at least deal some damage to it. We're again having the same issue here where my Eldar Archers are apparently not within range of these guys, despite the fact that they're firing directly on top of them, so it seems to be a little bit of an issue here. But we're trying to trade some fire with these guys. We've managed to gun down a fair amount of them. This is why you always put your troops into loose formation and try and stick them in spaghetti lines, because with focus fire, they will get gunned down. You can see them taking a lot of damage right here, a lot of fire. Yeah, another one of them has just gone down. But he's got so many troops left at this point. I had to use so much of my heavy infantry, and I lost both of my units of cavalry, but I had to use so much of my heavy infantry trying to fight off Archangel's expeditionary force. Oh, near miss into the back of his Silvan Heavy Spearmen. That would have been devastating. That might have wiped out half of the unit right there. So I've managed to get some of my reserves into the fight. We've got my Sindar Blademasters charging into the sides of these Silvan Heavy Swordsmen, and it is just brutal elf on elf violence. Swordsmen, heavy swordsmen from each side slaughtering each other. We're doing pretty well against these Silvan Heavy Swordsmen. Definitely, if you have the money, it's a better option to go for the e-Beng, I believe is what they're called. Yeah, we've seen another flank charge here coming off into the sides of these Silvan Heavy Spearmen. But they are generally a lot better than the Silvan Heavy Swordsmen, who are kind of like a bargain bin version that you would normally take to pad out the numbers of your army and still have a pretty decent unit at the end of the day. So you can see the e-Beng coming in, and the reason why these guys are so much better, despite having not as much numbers, they have equal numbers, but these guys have more armor, slightly less attack, but they are armor piercing, so they are great for carving through heavy infantry. But yeah, things are not going great for me at this point. I've committed essentially all of my forces. I have no reserves here. We finally managed to deal with these two units here, but at a great cost. And unfortunately, our general is not going to make it around to the other side to hit their catapult. He is going to go... Oh, excuse me. He's going to go down right here to their archer fire, massed archer fire, because he saw my movement. It was very obvious what I was trying to do, and he did a good job at stopping my cavalry. So he's throwing in the rest of his reserves here, slowly bringing them up so that they are nice and fresh. And in the meantime, my Sindar Blademasters are being driven back. You just see the arrows flying overhead here. At this point, I start trying to focus on his catapult, trying to deal at least a little bit of damage to these guys. And so far, we've done a fairly reasonable job. I mean, he's down to 18 in this unit here, so we're weakening his catapult, which is hopefully going to help my allies later in the battle. Oh, brutal! Not the greatest shot. His catapult is not going to be too decisive in the battle against me. But as you can see here, his reserves came up, broke right through our Sindar Blademasters, smashed us apart, and now they're going to get into our heavy archers. So we're going to get like a point-blank volley here, going into some of these Silvan Heavy Swordsmen, and they're going to charge in. And my archers are not going to have they have no hope at beating these guys. And at the same time, he is thinning out the rest of my troops with deadly volleys of arrows. My Eldarinwe Archers here just aren't up to the task of trying to fight his entire army all by themselves. Oh, did you see that? A nice shot there, fried the guys in the first two row, just totally immolated, turned into something that is fried. I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't take them long to cut through my Eldar Archers. Fighting two units of heavy swordsmen like that, as well as the Eldar Palace Guard. Very, very bad engagement. So this is actually going to be the end of my army at this point. I charge what troops remain to me forward, just trying to support the largest blob of my troops left here. We're going to try and kill as many of these guys as we possibly can. At this point, it's just, we're in Scorched Earth mode. We just want to kill as many of our opponents as we possibly can. Another 2 of them going down here to just brutal cannon fire. This guy is the luckiest Eldar in the world. Zoomed right over his head, killed the guy behind him. Yeah, they've just finished wiping out my heavy archers right here, and now it is essentially 3v2. Looks like we have a little bit of action going on over here. Oh, what have we here? Yeah, the Eldar cavalry charging straight up that hill, absolutely fearless, into the ranks of these Silvan heavy archers. They're going to deal a lot of damage to these guys, even though they are terribly, terribly outnumbered. I think both units are in there, so he's committed almost his entire cavalry force to this engagement right here, and he's cutting down these Silvan heavy archers, but it's going to come at a pretty terrible cost. Archangel rather is very wisely throwing these units under the bus, and he's just going to try and shoot some arrows and some ballista into the sides of these units, but they are going to charge his lines absolutely without fear, cutting down his ballista artillerymen left and right. He's now down to 17, 16. This is just dealing so much damage to a very important unit here, at the cost of his cavalry. So it's a pretty dubious trade-off, but I can understand why he'd want to do that. Artillery can do so much damage, especially in the fight that is to come. So it looks like, yeah, Metalized is setting up his army here. I don't think he's going to charge the heights, though. I think he's eventually going to pull back, but looks like he's considering it. He's considering the possibility of storming the Silvan position up here, which if he were to do so, I don't know. It could go either way. He's only got a couple units here that are readily available, but these Hiri Lang, especially fighting downhill, that'd be a pretty steep price to pay just to take this position, which isn't really all that important. Let's go take a look here and watch the final demise of our army. You can see I've got some. This is the one survivor, the one person who made it out. This is apparently one of the officers from my Mithlond Noble unit. But the carnage is immense. I've lost my army, I've lost everything at this point, but we did manage to deal a significant blow to our enemy forces. We wiped out their cavalry almost entirely. We managed to wipe out a few of their really powerful units. One of Archangel's Eldar Palace Guard was completely destroyed, along with some very valuable archer and heavy infantry units. So we've done pretty well. We definitely gave as good as we got in this particular battle. So he's going to consolidate his position right now, but he's just going to let his troops rest, or just let them enjoy a well-deserved rest after wiping my soldiers off the face of the earth. He's going to start to move down here ever so slowly towards. Oh yeah, it looks like we've got some routing troops over here. So maybe that guy wasn't the last survivor, but he's going to start to move down here towards the remaining positions for the High Elves, who are all trapped down here. Our entire force is down here in this plateau. If you look, we can see some archer fire here, some deadly archer fire going into these Eldar Spearmen. A lot of dead Eldar warriors. He got a little bit too close there, and he paid for it. And it looks like he's lost a little bit of micro here. These Imladris Guards still pushing forward, and you can see them just being slowly bled dry, getting shot in the back now. Yeah, you can see a couple of them going down, but he realizes his mistake, and he's going to start to pull back immediately after only losing about a handful of guys. Then he's going to take this position right down here. He's still got some cav. He's still got a reasonable amount of heavy archers. 2 of them here, 2 of them up there now in loose formation. Looks like, yeah, he's pulling back all of his forces at this point. And the cavalry for the Silvan Elves down here also has been completely wiped out. It looks like CMT is bringing up some of his reserves as well, a couple units of Sindar Blademasters. But this is all that remains of our heavy infantry force down here. That's 4 units of heavy infantry completely destroyed, and all that's left is just a handful of guys. But the Silvans did pay a steep cost for it. At this point, they have almost no cavalry left whatsoever, while we still have a little bit of cavalry. We've still got a reasonable amount of heavy infantry, some archers, lots of holding units, got lots of spears and that kind of thing. So we're still in the game. The balance of power here is still pretty evenly matched. More of our allies, of course, have been killed at this point because my army got completely destroyed, 43% to 32. But CMT is going to slowly and judiciously start to commit his troops to this area up here, recognizing the strategic importance. Oh, sorry about that. I'm still a little bit sick, guys. But he recognized the strategic importance of this hill up here, so he's going to start to move some of his Noretirno Archers, as well as some of his Eldar Archers, some of his Imladris Guards, his Catapult as well. We're going to turn this mountain here into a little bit of a fortress. And yeah, you can see him bringing up some more Imladris Guards at the back. Very good for holding the line. And at this point, it becomes a little bit of a stalemate. Oh, you can see my poor troops here. They're definitely in the wrong side of town. They're going to route right through these Hiri Lang, and I think they are actually going to be completely annihilated. Oh, and there's the one guy from earlier! Oh, you recognize him! Yeah, they are totally screwed. They're going to run right smack into these guys. But it is actually going to devolve into a little bit of a stalemate, so I'm going to fast forward a little bit, and I will see you guys in just a moment. Alright, so the Silvans here have these heights totally occupied, have our troops surrounded. But Archangel's going to start to move his armor down here, and this is just because we wanted to have a little bit more of an interesting battle, because if the High Elves outnumbered were to storm these heights, they would be completely slaughtered. So Archangel, being the cool guy that he is, we were hanging out in Discord, decides that he's going to move his army down here and try and force his allies to support him in his assault. So the only force that we have that even resembles an army left at this point is the Spearmen of Metalized here, as well as a few troops who have fallen back to this hill position up here. And this is going to be our fallback point in the event that something terrible happens to this army. So we're going to speed it up just a little bit here. Let's the Archangel get into position. And I believe some of his allies are going to follow him down as well. So Kid is actually going to support this this thrust by committing a lot of his Spearmen and Swordsmen to the battle. And over here, we still have another Elven force. Oh no, never mind. So Kid has actually brought his entire force onto this plateau. I guess I didn't see that happen. I didn't see it happen this time, or in the battle when we were playing it either. Yeah, so there's the rest of Kid's Spearmen here, now occupying up in these heights. The Silvan Elves, of course, have their own fallback position in the event that something goes wrong, as well as we do up here. So we've moved our ballistas, or rather our catapults, up here onto the heights. And we're going to start to pelt these guys as they come in. His archers are opening fire. Looks like we've got a unit of Silvan Heavy Archers here who've gotten... Yeah, this is one of Archangel's units here. It looks like they got themselves a little bit separated. So now they are going to pay dearly as these Eldarinwe Archers fire into their flank from the top of that plateau. In the meantime, we've got Archangel here getting his troops into position. His Hiri Lang very, very much able to weather this arrow storm. I was going to stick them in the loose formation, make them just that much more resilient, but fire arrows are naturally quite inaccurate, and these guys have a lot of armor. So we can see a massive general charge here going on as Archangel charges his forces into battle here against this holding army. You can see some brutal, accurate ballista fire here going into these spearmen, just puncturing holes in this already very thin, very ragged line. And these are a lot of swordsmen, and armor-piercing swordsmen at that. It is going to be tough for the Eldar to hold this line. Another ballista coming in here, wiping out some sorely needed defenders. And there they are, just charging into battle. And you can see, almost immediately, things are going to start to go against the spearmen. It says that victory is a distinct possibility, but these guys are going to start to die like crazy. And in the meantime, they're taking a lot of ballista fire too, so their flank here is going to start to crumble, and you can already see the gap beginning to open up in their lines. Yeah, defeat seems certain. These spearmen are getting gunned down as Archangel commits the majority of his forces to this thrust. Now this is a pretty good engagement for the Silvan Elves. You can see them matching swords against spears. It's going to drive the High Elves back really, really quickly here. Already you can start to see these Imladris Guards going down unsupported because there are no more reserves left. And in the meantime, this Eldarinwe Lancer unit is just getting hammered by the ballista of Archangel, sitting up there on the hill, getting some really nice, really easy kills. Oh, here's another one. Oh, very lucky. Absolutely no one was injured that time. But still, he's lost some very valuable horsemen. You can see, oh, just disgusting. Absolute devastation. I can't even tell who is who there. I think that the majority of those troops, though, were Eldarinwe Spearmen. Oh, another brutal shot right here. Not getting any of the enemy troops. Just devastating his front line, though. So things are going very poorly for the High Elves. These Spearmen are just shattering Metalized's army, just running right through him. And you can see that there's quite a lot of Silvan Heavy Archers here to go around at this point, gunning down Metalized Archers who are now starting to beat the retreat as they have these Hiri Lang here on their heels. And they're going to catch these guys, and this is going to go very badly for them. You saw what happened versus these very powerful units earlier up on the plateau against my archers. These guys are going to gun them down. And you can already see it starting to happen here. They're already starting to lose units. 42, 40 in just a couple of seconds here. But he is going to manage to pull out the majority of his archers. But, oh no, this is Kid here. Yeah, this is Kid's army. He is going to make him pay for it. But he's actually, it looks like he's pulling back here in favor of hitting the rear of these Eldarinwe Spearmen. Nice hammer and anvil right here. And this is going to be the end of another large part of the High Elven infantry. Things are getting very desperate for the High Elven troops at this point, because if you look, Kid still has reserves. He's still got archers. Archangel still has reserves and archers. And up here, yet more troops from Kid. And if you look at this here, the remnants of Horth Heaton's army, fresh from their victory over mine, they're starting to arrive, and they've occupied this plateau here opposite his friend. And there's a lot of Silvan Elves left at this point in the battle. Things are looking extremely desperate for the High Elven defenders. We're only about halfway through, so there's so much more yet to go. Yeah, you can see some. Looks like he's trying to take out Archangel's ballista piece here, but some fairly inaccurate fire coming off of the catapults up here, and it looks like. Yeah, we've already lost another catapult unit here, completely destroyed. Looks like some very accurate fire on the part of that ballista, which is why you bring ballistas. They are artillery killers. If you have them in a good position, you can snipe enemy artillery and really swing the battle in your favor. Unfortunately for these troops here, they are starting to. It looks like they're starting to run out of ammunition, and these Eldarinwe Archers up here definitely have a superior position. So they are starting to rain hell down on these Silvan Heavy Archers, who and it looks like. No, all of them still have ammunition at this point, but they don't have too much left. They've been firing pretty much for the entirety of the battle, and these Eldarinwe Archers are really making them pay for this vulnerable position down here at the bottom of the valley. Meanwhile, the combined forces of Kid and Archangel are mopping up what remains of Metalized Spearmen. Like, look at this. Complete and utter devastation. There's one last unit of Imladris Guards here who are being surrounded. They can't even get themselves into phalanx formation anymore. Just getting cut down by these Silvan Heavy Swordsmen. And most of these units, you can tell, they're pretty healthy. I mean, they start out with 61, so a lot of these guys are at about 2/3 of their unit strength still. Unit of Elder Royal Guards here. Looks like the remains of Archangel's Elder Royal Guard that he used to attack me over here. So yeah, the Silvan Elves have stormed the High Elven position down here at the bottom of this valley, and they have dealt some serious damage to these guys. So it looks like Archangel and Kid are sending their troops in together. Another general charge here. They swept away this army, and now they're looking to start wearing down the remaining High Elven front lines here. And you can see that CMT has moved up a few of his reserves here. He's got some Eldarinwe Swordsmen, and they're going to charge. These guys are going to charge right up this hill here into the teeth of the High Elven army. And this is one of a couple different mistakes that I think are going to cost the Silvan Elves very dearly. So you can see that they're just charging this one particular part of the line here, which leaves them open to be surrounded by a unit of Eldarinwe Swordsmen. But Archangel and Kid, they definitely know what they're doing, so they're going to start to line up the rest of their troops here to take on these reserves. But unfortunately, these Hiri Lang are in a very tough position here. They've got High Elves surrounding them on 3 different sides. The only side that they're not being attacked on is their rear, for the time being. Little bit of lag there. And if you look, you can see the High Elven artillery and archers just raining death and destruction down upon their Silvan cousins. Kid, and it looks like, this is just Kid's archers, but unfortunately they are not in loose formation. So when that catapult does manage to touch this unit, and it doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it's going to be absolutely devastating. It's just going to blow holes in this line here, and the Silvans really need to conserve their numbers, because even though the High Elves are on the run, they still have a very powerful defensive position up here on this hill fortress. And as you can see, they're using it to great effect. These swordsmen here pushing these Hiri-Lang, these tired Hiri-Lang, back down the hill. These guys are surrounded, but they're going to fight to the death, and they are still very powerful. They're going to take a lot of these Eldar Swordsmen with them. Over here you can see just 2 units of Swordsmen. Swordsmen from either side just going at each other. And the result is devastation. The only reason that the Silvan Elves are being pushed back right now is because their troops are so tired. Whereas these Eldarinwe Swordsmen, they are fresh. This is their first engagement. Over here, though, they managed to gang up on these Eldarinwe Swordsmen. It says that victory is certain. But honestly, you can see them being driven back here. These guys have no choice, or they have no chance whatsoever to push back these guys. Because it looks like there's some Eldar Royal Guard in there as well, in addition to Hiri-Lang. And that's a pretty tough combination for any heavy infantry unit to beat. So in response to this, CMT is going to start bringing up his Sindar Blademasters. These guys have 2 hit points, and they are very, very potent melee combatants. Although they are quite low numbers, you can see they've only got 43 as opposed to the standard 61 units in a or individuals in a unit that is standard for Elven heavy infantry. Oh, I can talk today. So these Hiri-Lang here are being driven back ever so slowly by the combined arms of these Imladris pikemen and CMT's Eldarinwe Swordsmen. You can just see these guys taking so much damage here in this blob formation. This is really a bad idea. I think perhaps maybe the Silvan Elves are a little bit overconfident at this point, but this is a pretty basic tactical error. But even so, they are still high armor units, and they can really take a beating. And it doesn't look like, oh, brutal. 5 or 6 of them going down there. Yeah, but this is why you absolutely want to keep your archers in a very long spaghetti line loose formation. Because in a formation like this, any arrows that go over the heads of the first 2 lines are going to hit the guys in the back and still potentially kill somebody. Oh, look at that. Just utter destruction. That Catapult getting so many good kills on a very elite unit here. You don't want to lose these guys, because even after their arrows are gone, they are still very powerful heavy infantry units. But it's kind of okay for the Silvan Elves. You can see the second wave coming in here. It looks like this is the combined forces, or the remaining forces of Kid, and the victorious army of Heath Horton. Oh, another. Oh, they got really lucky that time. That one missed. These Hiri-Lang, look at these guys though. Tired, outnumbered, and fighting uphill. They are still putting up a fight. They have cut these Eldarinwe Swordsmen down. There was 40 of them earlier, and yeah, they have support from these Imladris Guards right here. This is not an easy fight, and honestly, they're doing amazing. A lot of dead elves here. Really, whoever wins this fight, there is no winners. So victorious swordsman here coming up to surround these Hiri-Lang, what remains of them, only about a handful of them left. Put the final nail in the coffin for this unit here. You can see the push of the Imladris Guards here, trying to push these guys completely off the hill. I don't think... Now would be a really good opportunity for the Silvan Elves to take advantage of the High Elven forces being so blobbed up there, but unfortunately none of their artillery pieces are in position right now to take advantage of that. But in the meantime, the High Elven artillery is in a wonderful position to just rain fiery death down on this big blob of archers right here. And you can see so many of them have died, just all those burned corpses. But if we look up here, it looks like the High Elven Archers have not fared too much better. Prolonged combat with these deadly Silvan Archers has started to take its toll on these guys as well. And it looks like these High Elven Archers are not in loose formation either, so that is a tactical error on the part of the High Elves as well. But even so, even these guys up on the hill in loose formation, you can see just how many casualties they've taken. Oh, let's watch it. Oh, so good. Such beautiful shots coming off of that catapult up there. You can just see it doing so much damage. Oh, what do we have going on over here? Oh, the one survivor who was fleeing. It's the Bannerman saving the King's Banner. But meanwhile, he's under fire from a lot of the High Elven Archers that are up there. It looks like there are still some archers in reserve here. I think these are Metalized Archers. Yeah, he managed to pull some of his archers back. Got some Noretirno. I think there's at least one more unit of them. Yeah, I've got some more Eldarinwe Archers back here. And this is a saving grace for the High Elven team right now. CMT has been very, very careful in how he deploys his units, and I have to say I was really impressed by this. I mean, everyone did a wonderful job in this battle, but CMT is... The fact that he has all of these troops still up here is keeping his High Elven brothers in the game right now. You can see these e-Beng here. They must be running low on ammo at this point. But this is, I think, the entirety of Kid's archer battalions. Not very many of them left. Looks like these Silvan Heavy Archers here are now completely out of ammunition. These are the remains of Archangel's Archers, and he has quite a lot of them. I didn't realize just how many he had. He's done a great job of conserving his forces as well. But I think this is all that's left of the Silvan Elf Archers, except for maybe a couple units of like Royal Guards back here. Yeah, we've got Elder Royal Council and probably a couple units of them. So they do still have, actually, oh wow, some e-Beng as well. So the Silvan Elves are not in any danger at the moment of running out of soldiers. But they need to be careful. You can't throw away your troops like this. Otherwise, you can find your advantage very quickly turned around on you. Oh, now they've got their artillery pieces into the fray here. And you're going to see some amazing artillery shots. There is at least one, totally 1 in a million, out of left field shot. You can see one of their catapults going down in the back there, taking some pretty accurate counterfire from Metalized's artillery up on this hill. But there is one in a million shot that is just absolutely fantastic. Oh, look at that! Wow, that's a nice shot. Another nice shot into these Silvan Heavy Archers down here. I don't think he got anybody, but it was real close. It looks like these Noretirno are now completely out of ammunition, so... Oh, this poor bastard. The one unlucky man, this is one of the archers, getting just gunned down by that artillery piece. Oh, another really nice shot here. Another one of these Eldarinwe Archers going down. But watch this. Devastating. When I saw this, I shouted at my computer. I lost my shit. This is such an amazing shot. I don't even think he was firing for these archers here. I think he might have been going for their artillery piece, or maybe even these Eldarinwe Archers back here. But this unit, just in the wrong place at the wrong time, taking a huge loss. That's easily 2/3 of the unit right here. Absolutely, if I had to choose a play of the game, it would be that right there. Just mowing down these sorely needed High Elven defenders up here on this plateau. Because once they are attacked, these pikemen will hold their ground for a while, but they need some killing power, and the only killing power available to them right now was these Imladris Stormguards. And now they've been deprived of that. Things are looking pretty grim for the High Elves. So we've got Heath Horton coming in here. Just a really ineffective kind of piecemeal attack. We've got like 21 Silvan Heavy Swordsmen rushing up here. Looks like some of them are already in the fray. They managed to penetrate behind the lines here. I don't know how they did that, but they're not really gonna kill anybody. They're just gonna get destroyed. So I don't really know why he sent these guys in all by themselves. It seems possibly like a bit of a mistake, maybe a bit of a micro error. I don't know, but I would definitely not have done that if I was in his position. But still, let's take a look at the balance of powers here. It's starting to even out a little bit, but there are a lot of Silvan Elves left. Looks like he's going after this artillery crew here. I'm not sure he realizes that the artillery battery is actually out of ammunition, but normally this would be a nice little target to try and go for in the early or mid game. But I think at this point they're actually out of ammunition, so they're kind of a throwaway unit. And indeed, they have been thrown away. They are just getting cut down by these guys. You can see them dying left and right. Just brutal savagery on the part of these Silvan Elf Swordsmen. No quarter whatsoever asked or given for their High Elven cousins. It looks like these guys are going to start... I'm not sure what these guys are doing. I think they're going to start to rout pretty soon, though. But you can see him bringing up the rear with more of his forces. This is a bit of a problem here as well, because these Silvan Elves are going up here piecemeal. If they attacked all at once right now, the High Elves would not be able to hold them. So I don't know. I'm not sure why his allies aren't supporting him right now. I don't know. Maybe he didn't tell them, or maybe they didn't notice, or something like that. But he definitely needs the support of the rest of the army right now. You can see them just charging in fearlessly into that High Elven spear wall, completely heedless of the fact that there's this wall of razor steel. And even then, the balance of forces, yeah, look at that, defeat almost a certainty. Things are going very, very badly for the High Elves right now. But the Silvan Elves need to get the rest of their infantry in here. But this is important, and you'll see this later. We've got a unit of Eldarinwe Lancers here, almost full strength. They've taken maybe 3 or 4 casualties or something like that. But they're actually going to skirt around here, and they're going to wait for the Silvan Elf infantry to commit themselves to this fight. They're actually going to wait over here in this corner, and once they do that, they're going to sweep in and take out some of the more vulnerable units, like their artillery or some of their archers. Oh, look at this shot. Oh, very close here. Almost had a repeat of what happened last time. That would have been horrible for the High Elven defense. This would have been almost unrecoverable. Oh, another shot here. It looks like they are actually trying to go for these archers, but they've just gotten some wonderful shots here, almost entirely by accident, into the backs of these High Elven forces, and it's just doing so well. You can see them trying to pour some fire with their archers into the backs of these Imladris Guards here. But the forces that Heath Horton sent up here, these are some of the forces that I think he used to beat me with, because most of them weren't full strength. But they're getting surrounded by CMT's reserves, his Sindar Bladesmen, or Sindar Blademasters, and are pinning these Silvan Elf infantry against the spears of these Imladris Guards here. And this is devastating for these guys. This is a loss that they can't afford. I mean, they can afford to lose the archers, they can afford to lose you know, the odd unit of infantry, but like, they're starting to give away their numerical advantage here, and as you can see, the balance bar is starting to reflect this. It's actually starting to tip in favor of the High Elves. 61% of the enemies killed, they're within 9% of one another, and it's only going to get worse as more of those units start to die. The one unlucky guy got nicked by the artillery piece. He's still got a full unit of Eldarinwe Archers here, and they were pouring fire into these guys. And I believe they're now shooting at these here in Eck as they come up, so Heath Horton is... He's just throwing more forces in there, but his allies just aren't supporting him at this point. And they still have a reasonable amount of infantry as well. Yeah, the e-Beng now out of ammunition, and it looks like Kid's starting to move the rest of his forces forward as well, realizing that if they're going to take this position from the High Elves, they're going to need the full strength of the remaining Silvan forces. And yeah, they've started to give away a big part of their numerical superiority. I think they were up by 20% earlier, and now they're only 10% away, less than that actually, just 9%. Despite the fact that they are surrounded and outnumbered, the e-Beng are not giving up. Look at this. Look at this just amazing last stand by these troops here up on this hill. They are cutting down these Sindar Blademasters. It says that victory is certain, but like, you can tell quite a lot of them have been cut down. There's only 27 left in this unit over here that was full strength earlier. Like, this is a big loss for the High Elves, almost as much as it is for the Silvans. Really, neither force can afford to throw away any more forces at this point. You can see the speed it up just a little bit here. You can see the forces of Kid charging up this hill. They are warmed up. These guys are ready to fight. A lot of them are fresh. Looks like they're going to start to engage these High Elven troops up here. And as you can see, CMT-19 has brought up some of his reserves here to try and reinforce the High Elven defenders. But Kid sees this, so he's going to cut him off. He's going to surround these units on this hill here and divide the High Elven forces even further. So even as they're having a nice little victory over here, they are beginning to be overrun, and their reserve forces are now being surrounded. Very large force of Silvan Elves here. Oh, it looks like the Smiths of Eregion are going to take the initiative here. You can see forces charging into battle against one another, cutting down brother. No quarter asked or given. And things are going pretty nicely for the Smith of Eregion here. They're going to get a little bit of support from the Eldarinwe. But you can see just more Silvan Elf forces pouring in here. Looks like Archangel is back in the fight. He's got a couple units, 3 units rather, of Silvan Heavy Archers here, moving in to support the Spearmen of Kid. And it looks like Kid is looking to... He's gonna leave one of his units of Spearmen here as kind of a rear guard, possibly even this one as well. But he's gonna take these 2 units of Hiranek, and he's gonna move around here and engage the final remaining reserves of CMT. Got a couple units of Eldarinwe Archers right here, trying to fire into this blob of Silvan Elf troops down here. And up here, he's got a couple units. Looks like Mithlond Nobles, as well as his general, who's still hiding up there on that hill. But let's take a look at this fight right here. Heavy fighting on this hill. Yeah, these Sindar Swordsmen backed up by these Imladris Guards is a very potent combination. But there's a lot of Silvan Elf Spearmen, and it looks like they've got some Eldar Palace Guard in there as well. And probably some Hirenek, and I think there's also a unit of Silvan Heavy Archers in there. And looks like they're bringing in more and more reserves. These guys are fresh, ready to fight. Eldar Palace Guard, almost full strength unit. They are heavy infantry killers, and it looks like, yeah, Heat Horton is maneuvering his catapult into position to start trying to take some shots at the High Elven lines up here, which is a really good decision. Because, like I said earlier, if they can blow another couple holes in here, this part of their defense is going to become completely untenable. You can't hold that line just with Eldarinwe Archers alone, and it looks like the forces that were intended to make it up to the top of the hill to bolster that part of the High Elven line are now surrounded and in a very bad position here. These guys are actually going to be completely destroyed. It says victory is certain, but there's no way, absolutely no way. Pinned on four sides, even the Smiths of Eregion can't hold off such a large Elven force. It looks like the Hirenek on this side have managed to make it up to the top of this hill, and CMT is organizing his troops accordingly. We've got some Mithlond Nobles here, moving in slowly and carefully in shield wall formation. We've got the Falas Lords here charging into battle. Very, very impressive, powerful looking unit. That's where CMT's General's Bodyguard is hanging out.
Enemy are badly bloodied.
Yeah, more and more spearmen just pouring in here, but unfortunately they are blobbing up a little bit. Yeah, both units are in there, and they're going to blob up, which is going to allow CMT the opportunity to surround them if he so chooses. And he's moving his Eldarinwe Archers back up onto the hill, trying to conserve their ammunition, believing he's going to need them later. And oh boy, is he! Because the Silvan Elves here are starting to break through. The Sindar Archers have been pushed back to the point where they have actually been bent against the flank of these Imladris Guards here, as these numerous Silvan Elf forces begin to overrun the last bastion of High Elf defensive troops up on this plateau here. I mean, really, what do they have left other than a few units of spears? It looks like they're committing another unit of Imladris Guards here. CMT stretching out his line to try and cover the losses that have been suffered by the remaining High Elven troops. I've got that poor unit, this very unlucky unit of Stormguard here to back them up. Still got a pretty healthy unit of Stormguard right here, but as CMT moves to do this, he has opened a very large gap in their line, which you're going to see later the Silvan Elves take full advantage of in order to surround the remaining High Elven forces up here. So it looks like Archangel and Kid, Archangel's light infantry and Kid's troops down here just still being held in reserve, very cautiously deploying his troops, which is a good idea. Just fighting in waves is a much better tactic to fighting in a big blob like this, because it gives you an opportunity to wear down the enemy forces, wear down their fatigue, wear down their extra hit points if they have any, and just makes it a lot easier for your forces, and in general you will lose less troops when you do that sort of thing. Yeah, definitely employ wave tactics in your battles, guys. It is, I think it is absolutely essential to winning. Oh, let's see how this works. Let's wait for it. Oh, very tough angle indeed. If that had hit like right here, that would have carved through two units, and that would have been really bad. Let's see how things are going down here. It looks like the Hirenek are holding their line, but they've taken quite a lot of these heavy infantry with them. These guys are down to 44, 56. I mean, these units can hold the line for long enough to really grind down just about anything that you can throw against them. And looks like CMT moving some archers into position here, trying to shoot into the back or side of these Silvan Elf troops right here. But I don't think his troops have the range in order to do that. They'll probably be able to get these Hirenek here, but you can see them charging up here through this gap. And unfortunately, I don't think CMT sees what's going on here because he doesn't commit his Stormguard in time. So they are actually going to be able to make it around the High Elven lines here, being able to flank both this unit of Spearmen, of Imladris Guards, rather, right here, and this unit as well. Oh, you can see a nice hammer and anvil strike going off here. Actually, we missed it a little bit because we were focused on the infantry fight, but a lot of the troops down here were ridden down by the High Elven, the remaining Noldor Lancers. I believe they took out all of their artillery pieces as well, probably some of their archers. So really nice play on the part of Metalized. Very, very calculated, bringing his troops out to here, just waiting for the right opportunity to swoop in and attack the Silvan Elves where they are most vulnerable. So some good play on the part of the High Elves here that is managing to turn things around. But also, the Silvan Elves have been doing fantastically. This is not a good position to storm. This is like your nightmare position. Spearmen on a hill with tired troops, but they are doing admirably. And at the meantime, the Spearmen of Kid over here, he has 2 units of Hiranek, whittling down the remaining High Elven reserves, and he managed to disrupt their archer line for a while here as well, which would have let him save a whole bunch of lives. As you can see down here, there's still a lot of Sylvan heavy troops. And it looks like Kid is committing his Elder Guard to the battle of the remains of his Elder King's Guard. And they're just wiping out the few remaining troops here that the High Elves have available to them. These Smiths of Eregion and these Eldarinwe Swordsmen, surrounded on almost every side, being hit by cavalry. They are ready to rout. They were wavering just a moment ago, and looks like he's maneuvering himself into a good position. Yeah, you can see it happening here. These Smiths of Eregion are not going to enjoy this. Look at them, they are wavering, and it takes a lot to make these troops waver. And there it is, there's the break. The High Elven Eldarinwe Spearmen are going to be close behind, which is going to free up yet more heavy infantry for the Sylvan players in order to flank the remaining High Elven Imladris Guards here. You can just see the High Elven positions here. Their lines are just beginning to bend and buckle as more and more of their troops fall prey to these relentless Sylvan attackers. These light infantry here having a hard time against the Imladris Guards, but doing a good job wearing them down. These are also high attack value light infantry, so they are very good at taking on other infantry. Not so much heavy infantry because they don't have any AP values, but still not a bad choice to throw into the fray against very tired heavy infantry. It's very good. A little bit of a desperation move here on the part of CMT. It looks like his Eldarinwe Archers out of ammunition, so he's throwing them into the battle here against these Silvan Elf Spearmen to try and bolster his flagging Imladris Guard heavy Spearman lines. He's having a hell of a time here trying to keep his team in the game, because I've been annihilated, and so has the majority of Metalized troops as well. So really, a lot of these forces, as you can see, are CMTs. CMT taking on the entire Silvan Elf team here and doing admirably well. But unfortunately, it is all for naught, because as you can see, the Silvan forces here are beginning to roll up their lines and surround the High Elven troops. So it is really only a matter of time at this point before the Sylvans break through and annihilate the largest and most powerful of the remaining High Elven defensive positions. The High Elves are really struggling here. They've really been on the back foot the entire game. I mean, there was the loss of my army early on, the progressive loss of significant portions of Metalized army, and now it's really up to CMT and what remaining troops that Metalized has in the fray right now. He's still got some archers hiding up there on the hill. He's still got something that remains of his heavy cavalry unit. Oh yeah, here's a nice little observation for you guys. The formations in this have been fixed for multiplayer, in that your general will no longer be in the front lines, so that's some good news. Oh, we can see Thranduil himself breaking through here to deal with some of these Eldarinwe heavy archers, just cutting these guys down. There's no way in hell that they have a chance to beat these guys. They are such powerful heavy cavalry. But obviously that's not going to stop Metalized from trying, just charging his troops in there, trying to take down these Elven or these Silvan Elf heavy cavalry units. But as they start to get surrounded here, you'll see that things start to go pretty poorly for them. And this is one of the things you want to keep an eye on with the Elder Pathfinders and the Elder King's Guard. They are very powerful and they do have a lot of hit points, but they do not have shields and they do not have really high armor values. So they are especially vulnerable to ranged attacks. So you can see a nice hammer and anvil going off here. Really good job on the part of Kid, just putting so much pressure on these High Elven lines, just trying to get them to break. Metalized here is going to countercharge with his own cavalry, what remains of them. But Kid is going to pull his cavalry out almost immediately, not wanting to let them be surrounded. As you can see here, this is CMT's hidden weapon. The remains of his Eldarinwe Swordsmen, which you saw earlier, getting into the fray against the Elder King's Guard. And with all of these units swarming against them, they are surrounded, unable to escape and cycle charge and use their mobility to their advantage. And again, due to their low armor values, they are actually going to be taken down. They've been surrounded on all sides by a whole bunch of different units. And you can see him trying to run his troops out right now, but it's just not going to be enough. Thranduil himself fighting desperately to try and get clear of this mob of High Elven soldiers. He's cutting people down left and right. But at this point, it's really just him and one other. Now it's just Thranduil. taking on this this High Elven blob here all by himself.
Good tidings.
And
The enemy
that's going to be
general
the end
lies dead.
of Kid's General. They had a pretty good run here. It looks like they did a lot of damage, wiping out a lot of High Elven Archers, which could have been used to bolster the lines here. And these troops were sorely missed from this engagement here. As you can see, at great cost, however, but nonetheless, the Silvan Elves have managed to break through the High Elven lines. And really, it is only a matter of time here. This last unit of Imladris Stormguard here, being surrounded, as well as these archers. We've got some Silvan Heavy Archers here from Archangel pressing on one side, his light infantry on the other, and some Eldar Royal Guard from Heath Horton who are also armor piercing. These troops are not long for this world. The High Elves, this is a very difficult position to take, and I think they should have spread out their troops a little bit better, but honestly, the Silvan Elves did a great job trying to take this position from the High Elves. But their biggest mistake really was not attacking all at once. They had a couple piecemeal attacks where they threw away a lot of lives that could have been really, really important right now. But let's look at the balance bar here. You can see this is a bloody battle. 91% to 94% killed. The High Elves only down by a few percent at this point, having put up a tremendous offense, or a defense rather, along this plateau line. I'm gonna speed it up just a little bit here. Yeah, the rest of that Eldarinwe Swordsmen being committed to the battle. Just a handful of Eldarinwe Archers in the back here, firing, trying to take out as many of these guys as possible. Two units left here of Metalized Heavy Cav. Not really sure where to go at this point, and where can they go. In the back here, you can see that Archangel has kept a unit of Eldar Royal Council in reserve. These guys are almost full ammunition, or were earlier, and they're going to get a lot of really nice kills. Actually, I think they've been firing this entire time, so they might be about a third ammo at this point, but they've done so much damage. And that's part of the reason that the Silvan Elves managed to come away with as many of these troops as they did. Due in large part, I think, to Archangel's range support here. Oh, you can see, I think this is Metalized General. Yeah. You can see him making a retreat with his general up onto this hill here. These Hiranak have been completely annihilated. They might have been better served on the front lines over here, but at this point, who's to say? I mean, they took so many of the Mithlond Nobles down with them, and managed to disrupt his archer line up here, which stopped CMT from being able to put a whole bunch of really easy shots into the Silvan Elf blob that was down here. So, honestly, I think he did pretty good with the means that he has at his disposal. I think that was a pretty decent decision to try and disrupt the remaining High Elven troops here. But as you can see, the Silvan Elves are down to just a small amount of troops here. Their once proud army that you saw earlier arrayed down on the plains has been almost completely shattered by that stalwart High Elf defense. I mean, the High Elves were on the back foot for the entire match. I went down, and then most of the Metalized army here, they put up a very, very light defense down here before they were routed off the field. But up here, the High Elves found their courage and really struck back hard against the Silvan Elves. And just look at this. So many dead elves. And it looks like the final assault here is beginning. We've got Archangel moving what remains of his troops over here. Moving them towards this hill so he can start to try and thin out what remains of these High Elven lines. Because at this point, the battle seems to be slipping in favor of the High Elves. They have so many troops left up here on this very strong position, who are fresh or okay. The Mithlond Nobles are still tired, but a lot of these troops are fresh or warmed up. They're very, very ready for battle. And I think that this full unit of archers still has ammunition to fire into the Silvan Elves. Oh, we've got a nice heroic charge going on down here. Metalized General just trying to take it to some of the warriors of Archangel. Doing incredibly well too. Not giving any ground. Look at this. At least two of Archangel's troops have gone down, just a couple of cavalrymen. Just fiercely fighting. The only real bad thing for them is that when they charged downhill, they gave up their uphill advantage, which is now being enjoyed by the Silvan Elves. But look at these fierce cavalrymen giving their all. Aw, and there goes one of his last cavalrymen. This is Metalized General fighting to the death here. trying to escape.
Our
Oh,
ally
and
lies
there
dead,
he
slain by
goes.
the enemy. We must help his men avenge him.
And I think that is, for the most part, actually, I think that's the end of Metalized Army as well. I don't think he has anybody left. These guys cheering their cousins up there on the hill. Good job, guys. Took down one of the more important targets. But not satisfied with their victory over Metalized General, these brave, although possibly suicidal elven troops here, drunk with blood, are just going to charge the High Elven lines here. And this is not a decision I would have made. I mean, every troop at this point, it all counts towards the end. Every drop in the bucket, man. You want to try and keep as many troops of yours alive as you can near the end of the battle, because it can mean the difference between victory and defeat. So this is actually not a bad idea, though, from the sense of if CMT decided he wanted to shoot these guys, that would be a lot of arrows that CMT wastes. But CMT is a very crafty player, as you've seen throughout the course of this battle, and he does not waste troops on such a small target. Not when his High Elven Archers here can do the legwork for him. There goes the final Warden. Those guys have been in the thick of it almost the entire time. The second Silvan Elf Archer going down. But they fought all the way over here. They've gone across the whole map, fought in this bloodbath up here, and yeah, now they finally met their end just at the end of the battle. Quite the epic tale. And again, throwing more troops here into fights that they can't win. Probably not the soundest decision. I don't think these guys are even going to get anybody together. Although at this point, I think people just want the battle to end because it has been going on for probably about 2 hours at this point. 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Like I said, this is a very, very long battle. Look at these here, e-Beng holding their ground. Just 4 of them. Are they going to get the last shot off? Nope. Unfortunately. They're going to get charged by these Eldarinwe Archers. CMT doing a real good job, being very aggressive here with his troops, not waiting for the enemy to come to him. There's here, e-Beng, satisfied that they had done their job well. He's going to retreat his Eldarinwe Archers now back into their position. Archangel, though, not going to let him get away so easily, charging into the backs of these retreating Eldarinwe Archers. Look at this. But meanwhile, CMT has unleashed his final reserves here, that unit of archers in the back. I'm not sure how much ammunition they have, but I think they are almost full. They probably haven't used too much. Driving the Elder Royal Council here off of the heights. Meanwhile, the rest of the Silvan army, exhausted at this point, making their way up for the final confrontation. I think at this point, Archangel still has some arrows left, so he's going to use them to try and thin out the remaining High Elven lines up here, but things are looking pretty grim. I mean, at this point, the Silvan Elves are down. They are down by 2% here after starting out earlier with, I think, about 20%. So things are looking pretty grim for the Silvan Elves. But honestly, look at this. Look at this battle. Slow it down just a little bit so we don't miss anything. But it just goes on and on and on. Like, this is an absolutely incredible battle. You can see the ruins of my army up here as well. Let's zip back over there so we can witness the finale of this fantastically epic fight. Look at this. You can see Elder Royal Guard here charging into battle proudly with their axes brandished against these High Elven warriors here. Although these guys, even though the High Elven Archers are not the best in melee against against other heavy Elven troops like this, they have the advantage. They have a nice hill position and they are fresh. Whereas all of these Silvan Elf forces here, even these Elder Palace Guard who we have seen are very powerful, they're not going to be able to beat these guys. They have a distinct disadvantage here. Heath Horton, see, this is a fight that you can't win right here, I don't think. Not against these guys. Yeah, this weakened Elder Palace Guard here who are now exhausted, it's not going to be a good fight for them. I think the better option would have been to try and surround these guys, but I guess this occupies the Mithlond Nobles and prevents them from being able to launch a charge into the back of the remaining Silvan Elf troops. You can see the archers of Archangel in the back still warmed up, still ready to go. putting some fire into, I think these are the Mithlond Nobles. Oh no, they're shooting at the Falas Lords here. Falas Lords are very powerful heavy infantry. I think they've got like 3 hit points or something. So it's definitely worth it to try and weaken them a little bit, knowing that you're going to have to fight them eventually. I'm going to speed it up just a little bit here. It's Mithlond Nobles, even though, look at these. The Elder Royal Guard here, despite being outnumbered, despite being exhausted, they are still giving it to these Mithlond Nobles. They're giving as good as they've gotten so far, but unfortunately the Silvan Elves just don't have the troops left to, it seems, to consolidate a victory at this point. Looks like more Elder Palace Guard here entering the battle, fighting these Mithlond Nobles, managing to push them back actually. One of the final Silvan Elf generals has gone down. That doesn't matter though. The Silvan Elves are still going to fight to the bitter end here. Some reinforcements from Heath Horton coming in here. We've got some Eldar Spearmen. There was about 20 of them earlier, but I think some of them got gunned down by archers. Unfortunately, you can see a big puddle of dead elves right here. Fighting the Falas Lords and doing fantastic, despite the fact that they are exhausted. The Falas Lords, apparently victory is oh no, now it's a distinct possibility, but apparently defeat rather was a distinct possibility, or just earlier. It looks like Archangel here has charged the remainder of his Elder Royal Guard, wow, that's hard to say, into combat here, and they are just doing a number on these Eldar Archers. It says victory is certain, but honestly it's not against these guys. So CMT is going to seal the deal here. He's going to start firing into the backs of these Elder Royal Council. They're going to take a lot of damage here. They have 2 hit points, but this is just going to help whittle them down for the remaining High Elven troops here, who are very much struggling. There's only 23 left in this unit here. They have pushed the Silvan Elves back down the hill. It started up here, and they've pushed them all the way back down, but they took some serious losses here. So if Archangel can destroy these Eldar Archers, if he can stop these guys, and if they just had a few more troops perhaps, if their troops hold on just a little bit longer, they might be able to pull off a victory. It's a very slight possibility, but hope is not lost right here. He did this is why you hold on to some troops till the end, because they become very important, just as you can see right here in this closing engagement. Yeah, you can see he doesn't like getting shot in the back, so he's actually going to pull his Elder Royal Council right out of there. Looks like they're going to cut down a couple archers as they retreat. And he's going to charge this outnumbered force here. A last-ditch effort. You can see he's the only one left with his general. He's going to charge them straight into the guns of these Eldar Archers. Yeah, here you go. You can see a bunch of them going down in the initial charge there. Oh, this poor bastard. He was hit so hard, it literally broke reality. Now they've planted him in the ground like a grim crucifix. We're going to speed it up just a little bit here. As you can see, the rest of the Silvan Elf forces here going down, unfortunately. Well, let's watch this 1v1. Who's going to win? Oh, I think he's going to get stabbed in the back. Very dishonorable. But at this point, I guess anything goes. Pyrrhic victory. 99 to 97% killed. Both armies, or both forces rather, have been completely shattered. We can just see these guys. This is heroic. 17, 16 left, but they've killed almost half of this unit of Eldar Archers, who not only were fresh, but started with full health, full numbers. They hadn't been touched throughout the entirety of this bloody battle. Let's watch the final stand here of these Silvan Elf troops, hemmed in on all sides. You can see the Silvan Elf general here trying to fight back some of these archers, and the remaining High Elven forces moving into the fray to finish off the Silvan Elves. This is not the outcome that I expected at all. Oh my god, we were on the back foot for the entire battle, and I was knocked out in like the first 5-10 minutes. Like, this is incredible. This is an amazing reversal. There goes the final Silvan Elf general. And that is going to be the end for the Silvan Elf forces here. The Elder Royal Council is going to fight to the last. There is just one of them left here. But obviously victory has been achieved for the High Elves. Let's take one last look before we go. Look at this.
Victory is ours.
Heavy
Only
fighting
by a sword's
everywhere.
edge.
Final count 98% to 100%. That is amazing. Let's take a look at. You're only going to see my casualties here. Oh no, you're going to see everybody. So we'll take a quick look at these. There you go. CMT coming in with just so many kills. This guy held the match together. He is the MVP. Well, that is it for me. My name is Jordan, also known as J.R.R, and I hope you enjoyed watching this battle as much as I enjoyed playing it. It is absolutely fantastic, and now that this mod is out, you're going to be seeing a lot more battles like this on the channel. So, as always, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you later. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye!